wanna live a life.
That guy just, oh my gosh! Surprise, motherfucker! What? Oh my god, you're fucking crazy! What is up, you smexy individuals? My name is Birdman778 and welcome to another thematic build video. Today, we're doing another revamped build from a previous one we did, and this is Super Saiyan Amara 2.0.
You do Christmas every time we start locking eyes up. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but in the dead of the night. Teardrops on the floor. The pain is over. Feel the darkness take control.
Now, before we get into the video, we'll let you know I do stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Birdman778. I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays starting at 5 p.m. Eastern, so make sure you're stopping by to see all these awesome builds being made. I have a couple streams sprinkled in between there, so make sure you're stopping by my socials, twitter.com/Birdman778, instagram.com/BirdmanGraham, and you're on YouTube, youtube.com/Birdman778. Hit that thumbs up, hit the sub, and let's get going. So like I mentioned before, this is a revamp of our previous Super Saiyan Amara build. Feel free to go check that build out to kind of compare. With this one, I decided to go a little bit more melee oriented because of one of the newer comms in the game, the Muse. The Muse, whenever Amara damages an enemy with a melee attack, she projects melee damage outwards of her attuned element towards another nearby enemy. This skill has a short cooldown. So essentially what it does is whenever you hit an enemy, an orb will fly off of them and then hit another enemy with that element. So this is pretty solid for all around gameplay, just because especially when you combo with something like the face puncher, you're kind of constantly having those orbs fly around at enemies. I chose shock as my main source of element for this build, just because I kind of like, for general mobbing, it just being able to strip shields, especially that Muse ability. But speaking of what weapons we're using a Lenoge with 300% over 90, mainly using this for if we're wanting to do just like true run up to somebody, melee them, damage, because we get that plus 120% melee damage, and then a redundant face puncher with ASE melee damage increase for 100% for a short time. I really like this just because I'm able to get that melee damage out of the gun, which is super solid, and constantly be able to kind of control the battlefield. On the last one, we had a couple other guns like the Smog and the Ion Cannon for that kind of like blast, but I noticed just for like general gameplay to take advantage of the Muse, it'd be better for me to stick more melee oriented. So we are getting more of that Kamehameha coming from our action skill rather than from our weapons. Now, going over what gear we're using a plus ultra shield. This one is ASE melee damage increase for 100% for a short time. The Muse with ASE cooldown rate, melee damage, and action skill damage. A fish slap with grenade throw, weapon grenade, action skill damage increased by 25% for a short time. And then a snowdrift white elephant with shotgun damage, action skill cooldown rate, and magazine size. Now pretty much all this stuff just synergizes so well together, essentially give you a really solid, consistent phase casting / melee damage build that I think is honestly a little bit better than the last one we did. Now let's check out our skill tree to see how we kind of change stuff up. In our skill tree, we decided to go pretty heavy into blue and green rather than red. In our red skill tree, we're essentially putting points in here just to get down to Illuminated Fist. With our Muse comm, we get plus 3 points into there. So adding on top of the other point that we added there, we're getting 300% melee damage increase, which is just absolutely stupid. But we also went pretty heavy into Tempest, so we're getting that extra elemental damage from our action skill, that being our phase cast, and shock damage is further increased, which is going to be the main one you're going to be using. In the green skill tree, we decided to go personal space, clarity, pretty much all the usual suspects for health slash damage. A couple points in the Samsara, so we're getting those stacks there. But a big one I want to mention is Do Unto Others and Guardian Angel. These really add to that thematic part because Do Unto Others, whenever an enemy damages Amara, she automatically throws an energy orb back at them, dealing action skill elemental damage. I think it's super cool because it's just like an extra just like orb of energy being thrown out there, kind of like a blast of Saiyan would do. And then Guardian Angel, I really like just purely off the fact that it kind of resembles that Senzu bean to get that full revive after you're down and almost out. I think it's pretty cool. But we also use the augment revelation for this, so that whenever we do our action skill, it now creates a nova when it damages enemies, so we're just getting extra nova damage. Now, with the blue skill tree, we're obviously pretty heavy to do harm. We want those rush stacks, a couple points in alacrity, a couple points in relentless, and pretty much going down the tree, just trying to benefit as much rush and extra damage stacks as possible. But I really want to show Remnant off as well. Whenever you kill an enemy with a gun or action skill, she creates a homing projectile that seeks out a new enemy, dealing her action skill element damage and does overkill damage as well. So this kind of adds on to the Muse, Do Unto Others, and this, where you're constantly getting these extra orbs of elements flying around, just doing constant damage while you're kind of sitting back with either face puncher or running up and doing some melee damage as well. But we obviously have Avatar on there as well, just so we're able to get that extra shot. But we decided to go with regular face cast. I was messing around with Tandava instead to get that extra damage, but I noticed the damage difference with the explosion really wasn't enough to justify it, especially with the longer cooldown rate. So we decided to go with just that as well. And again, we decided to go shock as our main one, just so enemies with like shields and stuff won't take as much damage from the corrosive or the fire, versus this where it can almost completely drop that, and then we just kind of have that open window just to run into a melee attack or shoot back with a face puncher. Now let's check out our Mayhem Modifiers to see how those help the build. For this, we decided to go Speed Demon. Speed's good, freeze tag, easily able to destroy those. Drone Ranger, just another thing to get yourself pulled up from maybe a fight for your life after you might have got knocked down without Guardian Angel. And then Postmortem, just to shoot death. Pretty much these three are just easy little things that you can shoot that will almost be immediately knocked down by the face puncher. But Speed Demon, obviously, Saiyans are super fast. We want to be as fast as possible. I really enjoyed getting to do this build. I thought it was a whole lot of fun getting to kind of do another revamp. Last time that I did the build, I had a couple people reach out to me that another content creator, Jaded Echo, has a a Super Saiyan build. So check out her channel as well. Very good build herself. Hers was done, I believe, pre Mayhem 2.0. So kind of be cool to see the difference between those type of builds that kind of have the same thematic. But hers was a lot more true for damage and did a lot better than mine, because you guys know mine is definitely more for just fun and all that stuff. So check her out as well. Super awesome content creator. But guys, thank you so much for stopping by the build. I appreciate it. It's super awesome to constantly get to revamp these and do one the past couple of days. Remember, we do have the October 10th 2-year Twitch celebration going on, so stop by, check me out, and have a whole lot of fun on that day. But until then, guys, I hope you have a great night, day, whatever it may be, and stay smexy.